everybody. I'm sorry that we are a little late today. We had a problem in the transmission, and I am very pleased to have here Professor Djalma Fonseca. Welcome to our program, Consciousness and Evolution, a project from Reaprendente International, which is a conscientiocentric institution dedicated to re-education and human development. Find our page, Reaprendente International, at YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Today, we are going to talk about ectoplasmy, the substance involved in the phenomena such as materialization, psychokinesis, poltergeist, and parasurgery. This controversial phenomenon was broadly investigated by Richer, who coined the term metapsychic. However, hard science has dismissed it as a fraud or sometimes even a trickery. Therefore, Professor Djalma will bring a concept of the cosmoethics, which changes dramatically how this phenomena is understood and how it can apply therapeutically. Professor Djalma is the co-founder of ECTOLAB, an institution dedicated to the laboratorial research of ectoplasmy and parasurgery. He is a businessman, volunteer, teacher, and parasurgery teammate for the last 16 years. Currently, he volunteers at Consciential, an institution dedicated to self-re-education through conscientiometric techniques, and Unisyn, the organization intended to implement the basis of the road state through consciential re-education and synergism among the conscientiological institution. Welcome, Professor Djalma.
Also, the phenomena that had to do with the symptoms, right? Parasurgeons. Very common in Brazil, some area of like Indonesia, they also have a lot of surgeons today working with it. Okay?
All right, so what about cosmoethics? How cosmoethics can change how this phenomena is seen?
It changes everything. The thing is, it's important to understand the term. What does it actually means? Ethics is a way of behaving. So, ethics is a way of behaving that is in tune, that is very integrated with the cosmos. So, what are you talking about when you're trying to see, cosmoethics? Whatever action we do, either thinking or actually acting, have consequences, because in a sense, the cosmos, right? It's a way of communicating with the cosmos. So the principles, the laws, the norms are, let's say, that balance the cosmos, balance those norms, even physical and extra-physical, are what we call, let's say, the framework behind the ethics. So if I know how to act towards the cosmos, it will have a better outcome, a better result out of our action. So maturity has also to do maturity or evolution with also to do cosmoethics. it's more mature, more evolved, they integrate better instinctively into. This is going to be in loop with
a lot of echo.
Okay, a lot of echo here.
Okay,
yes.
So I brought this concept of cosmoethics. I think I took it from the 700 experiments from Professor Valdo. So it's like we can say it's a cosmic moral, right? And it has something to do with how we behave in the extra-physical.
It has to do with how we behave in the extra-physical. And besides that, it has much to do with our sanity.
Oh, yes, that's right. That's a very important thing to think about.
The way we think, we feel things, that's the way we change the energy. And when we are talking about ectoplasm, ectoplasm is actually a very sensitive kind of energy, very sensitive to our thoughts and to our feelings. And it makes a lot of difference, the quality of our thoughts and our feelings towards this kind of energy. So if we are, everybody has ectoplasm. Some much more, some much less. And then it's going to say, well, why is it that some have this, in quotes, gift?
Mm-hmm.
It's not a gift. It's because this person has been working with energy for several lives.
I understand.
So whoever is working with energy for several lives tend to have more ectoplasmy. So it's more of an ectoplast.
I see.
So that's very good.
Mm-hmm.
But remember, this energy is very sensitive. So what do you mean by a very sensitive energy? Mm-hmm. It changes with thinking and feeling in a more, let's say, acute,
subtle
way,
mm-hmm.
subtle way than energy in general.
I see. It's not only because of the light and the temperature. If the person doesn't have the right vicinity.
But this vicinity makes a lot of difference. That's why some of those phenomena are so strong and sometimes negative.
Oh, wow.
Because a little bit of negativity becomes a lot of negativity with ectoplasm. In some senses, ectoplasmy is like
a multiplier,
a loudspeaker, an amplifier.
I see. So it kind of expands your energies, your thoughts, and your
energies. So whoever is more ectoplastic, he or she tends to have more accidents.
Wow.
With small thoughts, big problems.
Oh my gosh. I'd like to return just a little bit for the people that don't have a lot of knowledge about these terms that we are using, if you allow me, please. So I will put it here. Let's see, this way. And then, yeah. So can you explain to us more about all the terms?
You see there, ectoplasm is a semi-physical substance produced by the ectoplast consciousness. So the one that provides this ectoplasm. In a sense, ectoplasm is part of a biological body, but it has, this person has the ability of using the physical structure of her body in an energetic way. Sometimes some of those big ectoplasts, they dematerialize to do the phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
So it sort of uses the whole body to do the phenomenon. We had one of the biggest ectoplast consciousness was a Brazilian called Carmelo Mirabelli.
Mm-hmm.
He used to live in São Paulo and Jundiaí, Campinas, in that area. He also had a house close to where we started the Institute of Projectiology in São Paulo many years ago, like over 30 years ago, in Nova Cantareira.
Wow.
He used to live on the Nova Cantareira Avenue, and if I'm not wrong, he died run over by a car on that avenue.
That's correct.
Many of the ectoplasts die of accident because of exactly what I was telling you.
So I think maybe it's time to introduce the concept of macro psychokinesis. Mm-hmm.
Macro psychokinesthetic is the capability of doing macro phenomena that are physical. Materialization, sometimes big accidents, they are macro PK. They are micro psychokinesthetic phenomena. And when we say that it's destructive, it's because it causes a serious damage or fatal damage to the psychic conscience that suffers it.
Yes, I can bring up some examples here.
Okay, please.
Yes, Mirabelli was run over. Edson Queiroz was murdered in Recife, Pernambuco. Ana Prado was incinerated accidentally, also in Pará, Brazil. Arigó had an automobile accident in Minas Gerais as well. Antonio Rios, he died stung by bees in Palmelo, Goiás. Dolly Clark had also a car accident in Indiana. And even Oscar Wilde de Oliveira, he had a car accident as well. Wow, that's a lot.
It's a lot.
And even like Gustave Gallet, the Frenchman that started the research in ectoplasmy, he also died in an airplane accident, right?
Yes, Gallet studied notching. Yes.
Yeah.
Gallet he studied and he had some phenomena as well.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
But was not as big as those phenomena that those guys that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the big, actual, real big, or strong, or very powerful psychic ectoplastic conscience that we have.
I see.
Like Mirabel, for instance.
Maybe let's talk a little bit about the homeostatic side of the situation.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. The idea of that is exactly that, because once as much as it's very sensitive, right? Mm-hmm. So it also can do very good things on the other side. The most important thing that ectoplasm is important is the reurbanization. Mm-hmm. The whole planet reurbanization is only possible because of the gathering of the ectoplasm of most of the conscience that are here now. So we changed the whole planet, especially this dimension. That is a dimension very close to the dimension, physical dimension. It's called barotrosphere. It's called this area where many people call it hell. But we're changing hell. Oh, yeah. That's the good thing. We're clearing up. So the Serenissimus, so the very mature consciousness that manipulate energy very much, and also ectoplastic guys, but with a lot of maturity, they have been changing the planet on that sense. So this is a big thing, right? Mm-hmm. But we all can use ectoplasm with assistential
purposes,
means, or ends, purposes. So, for instance, we work with that on the parasurgery dynamics for almost 20 years. I think next year or the year after that, it's gonna be 20 years of the parasurgery dynamics already. Wow. So this kind of work is done once a week, but it actually benefits a lot of people alive and also decimated or extra physical consciousnesses. Those are very much in need of ectoplasm intervention. Mm-hmm. This parasurgery is more of a psychological, mental intervention. What it means is, while we are conscious, we can use Rivotril, we can use Ritalin, but once you're dead, there is no Ritalin, there is no Rivotril. What do you use to make people better? Ectoplasm.
That's correct.
With nice thoughts. So this certainty, this thought, feeling, and energy, thought, sentiment, and energy all together with ectoplasm is capable of being used to change the cognition, to expand the cognition, to be therapeutic in a sense, or to be prophylactic, which is something that's going to help the consciousness develop their own cognition in a more healthy, in a more centered, in a more stable way, homeostatic way.
I understand that
So-
when we talk, for instance, like in parasurgery, most of us have that idea that's going to cure some type of disease. But for those
Yes.
consciousness that are for a long time in the extra physical pockets, they don't have lucidity. And that's the intervention that they need, right? They are like a
Right.
parapsychotic, their cognition is compromised, their perception is compromised. Most of the times they are kind of stuck on the trauma that how they decimated, or about a situation that happened to them that was very traumatic. And they needed to kind of reach another level of consciousness to be able to be helped, right?
To reprocess those memories that are stuck, or those memories that are with a big charge of emotion.
Mm-hmm.
That once you don't have a body, your emotion doesn't have a lot of limits.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go into the emotion, and then that sometimes it's unbearable. And when it's not bearable, you cut your lucidity to survive that situation. So what we need sometimes is to go together, make like a mental fusion, like the Star Trek. You do a mind fusion.
Yes,
right?
you do a coupling that you kind of feel what that consciousness is feeling.
With that, you feel it together. When you feel it together, you share the feeling. So it's also bad to you. It's a bad feeling, but it's a good feeling to the person that is stuck on that. So it's a relief. In that moment, that person has the opportunity to approach things that she couldn't approach before, or he couldn't approach before, and then try to process it in a different way. And it's very interesting. You can do that sometimes with conscience and consciences. You do that with extraphysical consciousness, sometimes with conscience as well. And it's better than medication.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, and I mean, like those consciousness, sometimes they kind of stay close to conscience that are using drugs and things like that, because they want to numb their pain. And this is how drugs are taking over the whole road. You know, there are so many people in pain that they kind of try to numb it in some way, right?
That's exactly it. So the worst disease that we have is what we call intrusion. It's mind, emotion, intrusion, self-intrusion, and also external intrusion.
I understand.
So this is the worst disease that we have today in humanity. So it's very important to work on that.
And since we are all ectoplasts in some degree,
yes.
How would you say that I can identify some signals and some features that I might be an ectoplast?
Well, there are a couple of them. For the people that never thought about it or never heard of it, one of the signals that's very interesting is when you are sort of a sponge. Wherever you go, you feel the problems more stronger than other people. The problems on the environment, on the energy, and then you go back home and you're exhausted. For some reason, you lost a lot of energy just because you went in and out of a place. And then you think, I must be sick or something, or I need to exercise because I didn't do anything and I'm so tired. Why is it?
That happens to me sometimes, especially because I work with healthcare. It's
well,
yeah. Yeah.
So if you're an ectoplast, this is gonna happen to you. It's gonna happen less and less if you learn how to manage your energies. You learn how to center yourself. You learn how to mobilize energies. There are several techniques, energetic techniques. You can find them on Happening Dance, on IIPC. So many people in the conscientiology know lots of energetic energies. So if you use it and you start working with it, you tend to become stronger and with a natural defense better. But it doesn't solve all the problems. Still, you're going to have those that you get in tune and then you lose the energy. If you're like this, you're definitely an ectoplast. So this is a very good point for you to study and see if you're ectoplasm. But if you lose energy, you might use it also on purpose. And if you start using it on purpose, that's the second good thing that you do. It's like donating blood. Whoever donates blood produces more. If you donate energy, you produce more. It produces fast. You started donating, you produce fast. You lose it, but you restore it very fast.
I understand.
Because you've been using it a lot.
So that's why this donor profile is a very important characteristic of whoever is an ectoplast, right?
The donor profile is fundamental. It's fundamental. If you have this profile, you're gonna have a better, let's say, performance as far as assistance is concerned, your life is concerned, work, because you need to interact. And you're going to be interacting with all sorts of problems.
Okay.
So, yeah. What's going to happen also is that when you get stronger, you're going to attract more problems.
Oh, yeah.
That's the bad news. So,
welcome to the club.
Welcome to the club.
So in the past...
Today I attract a lot of problems.
But you have a lot of solutions.
I have a lot of solutions to give them.
You become more resourceful too.
Also, when you start becoming, let's say, very dynamic on that, like an entrepreneur, right? You become like a company that process a lot of things, and you start having profit.
Oh, yes.
Assistential profit. Then you attract more helpers.
Helpers, yes, that's
with higher level helpers.
And
they are interested on you because you produce a lot.
And that's where the cosmoethic comes in as well, right? Because the helpers are not going to be around if there is no cosmoethics in the process.
Exactly. So how much more you understand that and you are in tune with that, you're a good surfer. I usually say, imagine that waves in Nazaré. Have you seen Nazaré in Portugal? Waves. They are huge waves, like 30 meters, 40 meters wave. Huge, gigantic waves. And the guys go there and surf that wave.
Wow.
That ability of surfing a big wave like that is an example of cosmoethics.
Mm-hmm.
You know how to cope, how to be very harmonious, very balanced, homeostatic with the cosmos. You're going to be more cosmoethical, and you're going to have better
performance.
Effects of your assistance.
So
that's the thing.
I have a question here from Manuela do Carmo. She's asking how penta would help in the ectoplasm process.
Hi, Manuela. Yeah, that's a very good question. Penta, for those that have never heard of this term, it's personal, energetic task. Once you decide to do assistance and you manage to have a helper that's going to be with you all the time, you're going to be able to do a daily practice of donating those energies with a specific time of the day, every day, for at least 45 minutes to 1 hour. Okay? So you prepare yourself, you go there, you stay all by yourself with your helper, and then you're gonna donate energies. During this process, you're gonna assist a lot of extra-physical consciousnesses as well as intra-physical consciousness that are brought to you by your helper. And then, Manuela, definitely, if you start doing this every day, you will start with the 1 hour. But what's going to happen is that the whole day is going to become part of that 1 hour. Little by little, your encounters, the situations, the consciousness that come up to you, they all come up because of that 1 hour. And with time, this becomes 24 hours. For instance, I do penta over 30 years. So my penta has more than 10 years. It's 24 hours already. So all the time, I'm donating energy. I'm working with the helpers. It's not only one helper anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like a small team, right, of helpers. And we work endlessly. I go to sleep, I wake up, and we are always working with that. What happens is that I don't remember the last time that I felt without energy because of an encounter. So, in general, you have good, how can I say, energetic performance, no matter what. No matter what. Because you're a team.
Yeah, of course.
Not because you're alone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not one guy anymore. So I'm always with helpers.
And then you work synergically with those helpers.
So we started working synergetically with them endlessly, and it's very interesting. So this is what happens. Penta is one of the best things, or the best decisions that one can take in their lives.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I'd like to talk a little bit about parasurgery, how it was being done in the past, because like we have those mediums that they used to do like parasurgeries with some tools using no sepsis, no, they wouldn't have any kind of bleeding, nothing like that. And then now, nowadays, we have another.
Parasurgery, Valdo said that we needed to have three things.
Mm-hmm.
Hemostasis, or no bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
Para-anesthesia, so no pain. And para-asepsia, so no contamination whatsoever. But all of it done with ectoplasm. So you're not worried if it's with hands, whatever. It's aseptic anyway, because it's clean with the physical phenomena. And the person doesn't feel any pain. He cuts and puts the finger inside and takes it off. Then he closes over there.
Yeah, very interesting.
Over there. Very interesting.
Yeah.
I think I was part of the Arigo extra physical team.
Yes, Arigo developed.
Before I was born.
Wow, he had like he helped 2 million people.
2 million people.
And he only lived until he was in his early 50s, right?
Yes.
Wow.
Impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the biggest as far as parasurgery is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
It's unbelievable.
And can you explain how is it done nowadays?
Nowadays, or at least in our work, it's not as physical as it used to be. Of course, there are some interventions that changes physically the person, so it can be done remotely. The person doesn't need to come physically to the presence of the medium. At that time, it was one medium. Now we have a big team of ectoplasms. Instead of having a big medium ectoplasm, we have a lot of ectoplastic assistants that work together. And then it's created what's called ectoplastic field with the energy of the participants locally and remotely. This field that spreads out geopolitically, it's multidimensional because this field has the helpers working on that. And we have all the demands and all the ones that are going to undergo this process, and also the extra physical consciousness that are brought up to the field by the helpers. And sometimes intraphysical consciousness also can be assisted. And how this assistance takes place during this 2 hours field, we have like couplers. We have one coupler that is, or we have 3 couplers, and that are the ones that work with energy, and one coupler that is passive. That's going to be in tune with all the requests or the assistant that might be brought up to the field. So those 3 and that person are like the core of the work, or the core of the field. But there are a lot of things happening in the field all together with that situation. So we do those couplings, 12 fields during those 2 hours. So we round robin between the assistants that are present on those functions, and then by the end we have a closure and a discussion afterwards. During those 2 hours, we have seen for many years many changes, physical. Sometimes people with actual diseases are cured right there, or enhanced in a way. You're talking about physical problems, but also psychic problems, or psychological problems, or psychiatric problems, as far as extra-physical consciousness and intraphysical consciousness that are participating of it or being assisted there. So it's a broader kind of work that can benefit a bigger number of people during the process, because Arigó would do one by one, and he's done 2 million. Imagine that. It's a lot. We don't do just one by one. So we can produce a lot as well during those years, those 20 years. We have no idea how many.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's even more interesting that nowadays you don't have that only in Iguaçu Falls. You have that in Curitiba, you have that in São Paulo as well, right? Mm-hmm.
Yes, in São Paulo, Curitiba, and sometimes in other places, because they generate with the dynamics or with the course sometimes as well.
Yeah, and the course is very nice. When we have the course in Márcia, the immersion in ectoplasmy, they have like 3 circles like that, and yes, it's very nice.
It's very powerful.
Mm-hmm. I see.
Yeah, it's a great work, and we think that it's evolved the way it's done as far as technique is concerned, and as far as the reach, right? The reach that we've been able to do is much broader.
Yes, I would say like from a arithmetic progression in the past, now we have like a geometrical exponential progression, actually.
Exponential progression.
Yeah. And this is all permeated by the process of the cosmoethics. Each one of us can help in those processes as well. You can become a teammate, right?
A teammate, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the number of teammates, it's been growing as well. And our quality is growing as well.
Yeah. We have another question from Terezinha Andrade. She's asking if you could please talk more about physical manifestations.
There are many kinds of physical manifestations on that situation. For instance, if you're talking about, I don't know if you're talking on the dynamics or in general. See, if we're talking about it in general, there are some interesting physical manifestations. For instance, a very simple one, reps. Every ectoplast that works at home must have noticed sometimes small strikes, like
mm-hmm.
like on the wood or the metal or the glass. It's like a cracking sound or something like this. When you're starting to expand your ectoplastic field to do your penta or to just move energy or whatever, it takes some more energy. You might feel or see or hear those small reps. This is very easy to anyone reproduce at home. So don't believe me, just
have your
experience.
Bit of
energy, and you can have your experience in that sense. But you can have other types of experience. For instance, you can move objects. I had the opportunity with Professor Waldo once. We were on the public bathroom together, and then we were washing our hands, and then he said, "You have a lot of ectoplasm. If we work together, we can do some phenomena. You want to see?" I said, "Yes." And then he opened the faucet, and the water was going right inside the hole, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the sink. And then he said, "Let's work with energy together, and let's move the water to the right. And then the water is going to fall out of the hole to the right. Let's do it?" Okay. And then we started externalizing energy together, and the water went to the right. It was falling out of the hole to the right. And then he said, "Let's stop now. Let's do to the left now." And we done to the left. And it moved to the left. That's a very interesting kind of exercise as well. I was never able to do it alone, just with Professor Waldo together.
Wow. And that,
but I haven't been working with this, but this was very strong and interesting and unforgettable.
Wow.
There's no question about the physical manifestation of that.
Yeah, when you are present and the phenomena is happening right there, how can you doubt it, right? And I would also remember of a very common physical manifestation that we actually had in the beginning of this presentation. We had a lot of computer problems, and generally computer interferences and, those are very related with people that are ectoplasts as well.
We could never make my microphone work whatsoever. And we are talking through to the cell phone.
Yeah, he called me on WhatsApp.
The computer is not working.
We tried so many things.
We tried everything possible. And I'm an IT guy. I couldn't make it work.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Yeah, it happens.
So this is an actual physical manifestation.
Yes.
Some other technical thing is very sensitive to energy as well. Printers. Printers are very sensitive to energy.
Say again?
Printers. You know, you're gonna print something.
Oh, printers. Yes.
Because, I don't know, maybe because it's one of the physical things that you do with computers. But they are very sensitive to ectoplasm as well.
Right. Mm-hmm.
The beginning to make the printers work with Professor Waldo was a big challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I was in charge of the first computers that he has had to configure and to make it workable with him. And he had a lot of energy, and sometimes was impossible.
I can imagine. Okay, so
really impossible.
We are reaching the end of our presentation. If you want to make your final remarks, Djalma.
Yes, well, let's try to wrap up a little bit and actually understand that what is important with the ectoplast guys is to have a very organized kind of life. My life is very, how can I say, operational. I have most of the things with routines, things placed always on the same place.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we're talking about psychic phenomena, we tend to have more entropy, natural disorganization because of the energy. So you need to be very organized to compensate that and to start to put the energy on track. So whoever is starting with that need to be very professional. And to be professional, try to organize your life in little things. So I always dress the same way. People say, why do you do this? Because it's easier. I don't have to think. I don't have to spend energy to do that. So most of the things, I diminish the amount of energy, decision, possibilities to be able to work with that. Because otherwise, if you start working with that and you're not organized, your life tends to become very disorganized. This is not a threat. It's just a warning.
So it would be, in a way, having a very predicted intraphysical life, because you are going to be dealing with so many unpredictable extraphysical phenomena, right?
Yes, this summary, very good.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly that.
Yeah, and do you also take care with what you eat and how much you sleep as well?
For me, sleeping is very important, and I take very good care of what I eat, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when I'm, working with energy all the time.
Right.
So, I really.
Do you avoid any type of food or?
No, I don't avoid types of food. I avoid, for instance, now to eat much.
Mm-hmm.
I try to eat less quantity so that I'm getting old too, so my digestion is easier.
Mm-hmm.
And continues. If I'm hungry again, then I avoid carbohydrates.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I eat more protein and vegetables also, but nothing
crazy.
strong. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing crazy. No diets. I don't eat a lot of sweets. When I became 60 years old, all of a sudden, I didn't have any pleasure with the sweets anymore.
You are so lucky.
My body didn't require sweets anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not having a lot of sugar.
And the exercise and other techniques for the assimilation, right?
It's very important to do sweating exercises at least 2 or 3 times a week. And aerobics exercise, especially for whoever works with the intrusion. If you work with the intrusion, you need to clean up, detoxicate your energy. So physical work, exercise helps a lot.
It's a must.
It's a must.
And in terms of
cleaning your mind.
Right.
For instance, I just think what I want. I never think what I don't want to think.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't want to think, I don't think. I can clear my mind and not think for a long time if I want.
That's a good ability to train.
Silence. Silence. Complete silence. For instance, feel it. Feel the silence. Look.
That was a really good exercise. Thank you. So it is always a pleasure to have Djalma here. Absolute pleasure. And we hope he can help us again in 2025 because the end of the year is very close and we are going to have an interval. We should be coming back in January. So thank everybody for being with us today. Give us a thumbs up, follow us on social media, subscribe to our channel. And in case you wanted to deepen your knowledge in this subject, you can also look for ECTOLAB. This site would be ectolab.org. And there is a lot of subjects that are very interesting to learn over there as well. And thank you so very much for all being here. And happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays, everybody. Happy 2025.
Thank you.